good things already as he's taking over sheriff. I'm sure a lot of you have seen that. So let's give him a round of applause. So with that, as I mentioned, I'm Kyle Barr with GBT. I'm the assistant general manager, and I also take care of our customer business development stuff. So everything that I'm talking about here, I'm by all means not a resident expert, but unfortunately, most of the stuff that I'm talking about is what I've learned over the last 10 years since I've been with us as a company, and I've seen happen firsthand in our communities. I'm from Otis, and it happens right down the street to you, me, our neighbors, everybody. So these things are very relevant. If you have questions, you're more than welcome to ask me questions in the middle of it. I'm pretty good about getting too sidetracked. Most of you have a notepad, so if you want to write stuff down, we are going to do a little Q&A at the end of this after Karen gives her presentation as well. So if you want to write down questions that you have, we'll wait till the end. You're more than welcome to ask those as well. So first thing I'll say is you guys all flunked tonight because you gave Sheriff your names in a bucket, you know. Yeah. So he didn't ask for a phone number, he didn't ask for an email, but without that, we're going to get into some of the things that we at GBT see on an everyday basis that people fall victim to. And the other deal that I also want to make sure that everybody's aware of is you cannot feel bad if this has happened to you, if you fell for one of these things. We always say it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when one of us is going to fall for these scams. They're getting so sophisticated and so good at these things, it's really hard not to fall for them. The best thing that I can say is it's great that we have an awesome turnout. I wish we had another 1,000 people, because I can guarantee you, I need to hear it, you need to hear it, we all need to hear it. So I always encourage you guys, the ones that weren't able to make it, next time you're at a community event or a senior citizen deal or something, bring this stuff up for 5 minutes and just chat about it. Because that's really the only way that we're going to be cyber smart, protect us from scams, is if we just talk about it on a consistent basis. All right, so I'll get into kind of some of the presentations and just some of the highlighted things that we see people fall for. So the first one is a tech support scam. GBT does a newsletter every month. There's actually, I put some copies over there. I have a newsletter. You'll see in the newsletter, there's an article about tech support and email scams, but I'm sure you're all aware of this, or you've maybe had it happen to you, but you're messing around the internet, you're on your computer, and all of a sudden a screen pops up and it says, your computer's been infected with malware, with a virus, call this number, click on this link. And as much as we talk about it, people still call that number and they click on that link. It looks legit. It looks like it's coming from Microsoft. Oh my goodness, Microsoft, they're a big company. I hate to tell everyone, but Microsoft does not care about any of us in La Crosse, Kansas. They don't have a support team big enough to provide support. So Microsoft is not going to contact you and tell you that your computer has been infected. I know it's hard to see this screen, it's not huge. But what do those look like? Maybe some of you have seen this, maybe some of you have fallen for this, but this is what it is. Uh-oh, blue screen, you can't do anything. You try to click and nothing happens. But people will call this number. It's legit, or it's not legit, but it's a person on the other end that answers the phone. Hard telling where they're at, but they're really good at talking to you. And they'll say, well, let's get in your computer and let's see, what the problem is. So they'll start messing around, moving your mouse because you give them access to the computer. They'll start clicking on things. They'll do it so fast that it looks like they know what they're doing. And then pretty soon they'll start saying, okay, I see this virus and this virus, or they already have a made up page that says you have 18 viruses and somebody's just accessed your bank account. Oh man, we really need to clean your computer up now. So for me to do that, I need you to pay $299 and we'll get your computer cleaned. Or I need to access your internet browser, or we need to look at your online banking to make sure that somebody hasn't accessed that. Once you click that, once you give them access to your computer, you've essentially let the bad guys in. And please remember, you can lock your front door wherever you live here, but if you're connected to the internet, you let somebody in, you can let anybody in, whether they live in Russia, China, Africa, right down the street, a bad actor in La Crosse, Kansas. Once you click on that, you're allowing them into the computer. So at that point, if you've done that, the only thing that we can really tell you to do is shut your computer off, take it to a person that you know and trust, and then we have to clean it up. We have to remove the malware, the viruses. If there's something that's called keylogger, sometimes they won't do anything, but they'll actually put a keylogger, so they'll just sit there in the background and watch you. You think you're out of your computer, but they're just watching you access and type what you're typing. They'll watch you go to your online banking or access something, and they'll be able to see your passwords and everything else. So please, 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 never give somebody access to your computer. Our IT techs, they have a little saying, I'll clean up the version, but they say, if you can't go down and shake the person in the hand, face to face, do not give them access. So if you don't know physically who you're talking to, do not give them access to your computer. These things just kind of follow along on browsers, and so it can be you just click on an article, and maybe the article just has a pop-up attached to it. That's how these things work. Okay? Any questions on these? How many of you have seen something like this happen on your computer? Yeah. Look around the room. There's probably at least a quarter of people that raise their hands. So this happens on a daily basis. And it's really an unfortunate call when we take that, because most of the time when we take the call, the person has already given them access to the machine. So again, at that point, all we can do is just tell them to bring the machine in, power the machine off, bring it in, and we have to clean it up. Okay? All right, Sheriff Knowles just talked about this. So spoof imitated calls. I can pretty much probably guess, if I ask how many of you have gotten spoof calls, pretty much every hand would come up, right? Okay, does anybody know how they get your phone number? So there's multiple ways that they get your phone number. Some of them is when you go to different things and sign up for a drawing or that type of stuff. But probably two of the more prevalent ways that they get your phone number is, we've all got those emails from banking institutions, places where we have maybe stored credit cards that says your information has been stolen, sign up for cybersecurity plan or whatever. A lot of times when your information is stolen, the bad actors, they got your phone number, they got your email address, and maybe they got your address. So now they have a list of phone numbers that they just start calling. Another way that they get your phone number is, a lot of times it's computers that just go down a calling tree and call 785-222-0001. And they see if that's your phone number and it's a real number, they see if you answer. And if you answer, check, that's an active number. Then they go 002, 0003. And so it's just a computer that's calling that stuff. And then what they do is they compile a list of millions of numbers, and then they sell it to bad actors and say, here you go. We called 4 million phone numbers and 1.5 million people answered. I can guarantee 1.5 million of these numbers are live people. Have at it. Start calling and seeing how many people you can get to fall for it. So it is very, very easy to spoof a number. Why would that be possible? Well, I can tell you, I have an app on my phone that I can make a phone call from my cell phone, and it's gonna look like it's coming from Gold Bell Telephone, Rush Center, 4236. Now, I'm not a bad actor. I use that for business purposes. It's really handy, it's really nice. People are more likely to answer our main number when it's coming from them on the caller ID. But it's literally that easy. It's a free app. Anybody can go out there and find these services and make it look like they're calling from any phone number to your phone. The best thing that we tell people, I tell my mom this, I tell my family this, is if the phone number is not in your caller ID, do not answer it. If they need something, they will leave a voicemail. 5 years ago, it was like nobody leaves a voicemail. But now, I'm telling you, if you need something, you should leave a voicemail, because we teach people now, do not answer the phone if you don't recognize the number. Because all they're doing is trying to get that. Does it make things a little bit more difficult when my doctor's office calls and I don't recognize the number? Guess what? They leave a voicemail and I call them back. But I would much rather me waste the 3 minutes of having to call them back than to letting a spammer or a phisher know that this is a good telephone number. And half of them probably already have my phone number. Yeah.
Even if it goes to your voicemail, do they know that it's a good number?
That's a great question, but I can tell you most of the time that stuff shuts off. It only rings for, a couple of minutes, or a couple of rings, and then it kicks off. But I can also tell you, other than, this is being recorded, so I gotta be careful. Other than politicians that leave me voicemails, I've never really had a spammer or hacker leave a voicemail. Has anybody got a spammer or hacker that's left a voicemail, like from an automated call? You have, Linda? Okay. Like I say, I know politicians vote for but again, the best practice is to listen. Let it ring. I know we're humans. We're curious. We want to know, man, who's that number? Who's calling us today at 5:30? I'm not expecting a phone call at 5:30. I'm kind of bored. Let's see who it is. Please do not answer those calls. Just let them ring through. Okay? As Sheriff said, we've all seen it. This is the sheriff. This is Medicare. You're not going to get your Medicare if you don't give us your information. This is Golden Belt Telephone. Your internet bill's past due. You're not paying. This is your electric company. We didn't receive your payment. You need to call us. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. They know what to say. They know how to at least sound somewhat realistic. So that's why we just say, just don't be entertained by it. Don't even give them the option to hook you. Just don't answer the call. Okay? All right. Most of the time, they're also, when they do talk to you, they're always going to usually ask for personal information, and they're going to ask you for some form of payment. We've all seen it as well, and I don't want to, Karen's got some slides too, so I don't want to overstep much of what she's saying, but I got 3 boys, and if I answer that call and they say, your son's in trouble, we need money now, man, I'm going to be tuned in and listen, right? Or your grandson is hurt, etc., we need money right now, he's in the sheriff's office. Again, they know how to pull on humans' emotions and heartstrings. So best thing to do is, like I say, just do not answer the phone. All right. This one kind of piggybacks on phone calls. This is starting to become really, really prevalent. My crystal ball tells me in like 3 to 5 years, we're all going to be tired of text messages, and it's going to be some other form of communication. Because marketers, everybody now is figuring out if we text them, they're not answering the phone, but if we text them, they're going to look at it. There's a good chance that they're going to reply to it. We do the same thing, right? I call a tech, he doesn't answer. I text our tech, man, a lot of times we get a reply. We call a customer, they don't answer. We text a customer, they reply in like 5 seconds. So scammers, hackers, the bad actors are learning that texts are a great form to get all of us to answer. And most of the texts have some type of link in there that they want you to click on that redirects you to a website to be able to start gathering your information. If you just read the text, you're okay. It's not going to harm anything to read the text. But when you actually start clicking on the links, that's when you get in trouble. Something that I've seen really prevalent here in the last week or two. I know you can't all read this, but I'm just going to kind of go through it. This is a final notice that I received on my cell phone. Kelly, who was serving food, received on her cell phone about the same time. Final notice, Kansas Division of Vehicles. Enforcement penalty. Man, Sheriff Knowles after us, right? Something about we didn't remit payment, and we're going to have a 30-day suspension on our driving privileges, refer us to collections, yada, yada, yada. Go to this website, ks.com/CGD/Wayne/pay. It kind of looks legit, right? It does have KSDOT, Kansas Department of Transportation, but I can 100% guarantee that is a fraudulent link. Yes?
I had that one twice within 2 weeks. I took the second one into the sheriff's department.
Yep. And so you had it, I've had it, which probably, I had it. Everybody's had it. How many have had it? Yeah, look around the room. So everybody's had it, right? Again, it's okay to read them, but just delete them. Do not click on them, do not click on the links.
I know someone who clicked on it, did the payment, I'm like $800 out of it.
Yes, I don't know if everybody heard this gentleman, but he said somebody clicked on it, went to the link. Man, made the $800 payment.
They were supposed to make a $16 payment and $800 came out of their bank account.
So yeah, so he lost $800 like that. And the problem is it's great that you let law enforcement know. It's great that you call them. But unfortunately, guys, most of these things come overseas. They're using other people's IP addresses, and there is literally typically no way to track these people or to get them back. And where I say how they're using IP addresses, and I know that IP addresses may mean absolutely nothing to you, but that's basically where it points, where that internet traffic came from. How do they use somebody else's IP? It's off of stuff like this right here. So here's another text, okay? Hi, I'm a recruiter at Qualtrics. Our summer intern, who's 18 years old, actually just got this today. So he's like, hey, I got a good one. He helped put this slideshow together. So he's like, I got a really good one. So your background and resume have been recommended by multiple online recruitments, yada, yada, yada. You can earn $250 to $500 a day. Basic salary is $600 per 3 days of work. Sign up. Sometimes these are legit deals of signing up to actually work, and sometimes they will actually pay you minimal dollars. But what did my parents tell me, and probably all of your parents told you? If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So what do a lot of times, and sometimes they'll put them in newspaper ads or these texts, they're trying to pay you minimally. They have ways to use your IP address because they're going to tell you need a working computer and you need to download this software. A lot of times, what does this software do? They use your IP address and they start sending out these texts using your IP address. So when the sheriffs come and they're like, oh, we got this guy. He's at 201 West 4th Street, La Crosse, Kansas. I hope that's nobody's address. But so when Sheriff Knowles shows up and goes knocking, it's a nice person like you in the front sitting here. Yeah. You were sending out spam emails and you were, stealing people's money. And then we start finding out, no, you were actually working, thought you were doing a legit job. They were just using your IP address. Unfortunately, hackers are really smart. Some of them are really smart. And it's very doable to point these targets at other people. So sometimes these are superficially true, but a lot of times there's under-meaning things behind it. Yes?
Is it very good on the text messages where down the bottom says report Joe? I mean, I do that. I thought it was good.
Yeah, so did everybody hear a question about, like, now there's a spot on cell phones or on numbers where you can report the spam? It does, but the problem is as I mentioned earlier, they just use computers to spoof and make these calls and texts. You can report a spam. That's great because at least it makes their job about 2 minutes harder. If they get too many of those reported, then they'll just go get a new phone number. Or they'll just type it in their computer and start looking like it's text from a new number. And by that time, a lot of times, so yes, if it's illegitimate, if you get these things, please do mark it as spam or spoofing or report it as a spam. But I can tell you, you're still gonna continue to get them. And there's unfortunately that's the best thing you can do. But you can call us and be like, I've reported this. Yep, it's just a new number, new text, same message. But please do that. Yes.
I would like to know, I have gotten some phone calls that are from 785-35356, a number, and I know that's license.
Yep.
How do they get those numbers to call us when it is not them?
Yep. So she just asked, because we've all gotten calls from local numbers, right? And I have a 620-923 phone number. You have a 356 Bison, a 222. That's where they use apps and computers to, basically it's called phishing. They make the phone number look like it's calling from a local number because they know that you're more likely to answer the phone. And so again, that's where we recommend, if it doesn't come up as the caller ID, save the numbers that you know. Save Tom, your son, save that number in your phone. Save those numbers in your phone that you know, and only answer those ones that actually come up with the caller ID with the name. Typically, I know we're probably, sometimes I have even gotten called from my own number, right? But a lot of times when I get called from my own number, it doesn't have the name with it. It just has a phone number. And that's because they're using phishing type tools to mimic that number. Yeah.
I received a text that said, my new phone number is blah, 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 blah. I replied saying, who is this?
Yep.
Was I wrong for replying that way?
Absolutely 100%. And let me tell you, don't feel bad because my wife got a text a while back that said, hey, are we still on for coffee? From a random number. And I said, that's a fake email. Don't reply back. My wife knows way more than I do, so of course she texts back and said, she said, I think you have the wrong number. And they said, oh, sorry, that's okay. Would you like to meet for coffee sometime in California? So yes, again, texting is just like phone calls. All they're trying to do is to get you to respond. They may send something out crazy like with a link that says, did you see who died? Did you see what President Trump did? Did you see what former President Joe Biden did? And we're all curious, right? We're gonna probably click on that stuff or reply back. All they're looking for is just one interaction, and then they know that, all right, I've got you, this is a working number, and now they're gonna try to keep building rapport, building a relationship. Hopefully after that, you just, stopped and deleted it, but some people will keep going because we're humans and we're curious, and, sometimes we just want somebody to talk to, and we think that that person on the other end is our long-lost relative, our long-lost classmate, our long-lost cousin that we haven't heard from for forever. I mean, these guys are really good. Our long-lost actor that, for some reason, thinks that I'm a cute guy that's losing my hair in Otis, Kansas, and wants to date me. That's the stuff that happens with these things. So don't feel bad, but yes, do not reply back to those things.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
Okay, so in the last, it's been about a year or two, when I was talking about how I got the phone call saying, hey, this is Detective such and such with the Rush County Sheriff's Office, they called the Rush County Sheriff's Office. And on the caller ID, it said Rush County Sheriff's Office. So I'm looking around thinking somebody's messing with me. But, so sometimes it is gonna actually show the name. But I will tell you this, if you ever get a phone call from an organization, even the Rush County Sheriff's Office, that doesn't seem right, because we're never gonna ask you for money. We're never gonna do anything like that. If it doesn't seem right, then just say, hey, I'm gonna call you back. And then hang up and then call us back. We're not gonna get upset if you do that. Okay, if it doesn't seem right, just say, hey, I'm not sure if it's really the Rush County Sheriff's Office, I'm gonna call back and just call us back.
You would call it the same number.
Well, because it's actually our number,
Yeah.
but when you call it back, it's gonna go to us.
We'll address that here in a second. Who to call back, what links to click on, what numbers to call back. So, again, all hacker scares look for is just a human curiosity. And unfortunately, it has worked. It's cost people lots of money. It's cost people lives. And so, the best thing you can do is just not engage with people unless you know it's truly who it is that you're talking to. Okay. Email scams. So right now, this is probably the most prevalent scam that we see. There's billions of emails that get sent out every day. How many of you in here don't have an email? Okay, so about this many, and that's okay if you don't. Okay, but that means 95% of us in the room do have an email, and I can tell you, I would venture to say about 75 to 80% of the emails that I get, that our customers get, are probably just either spam emails or phishing emails. And when I say phishing, they're trying to make it look like it's coming from somebody else, and it's really a scammer or hacker that's sending those. So we'll kind of go over a couple of things that are very easy to look for in an email. And you really should look at every one of these things that we go over whenever you open up an email and start doing anything with it. So, okay, so this is an actual email that went out to a lot of GBT customers. I promise you we did not send this out. again, they got a list. They start sending it to random people. But Kyle, but Shauna, who works for us, it says Golden Belt Telephone. It doesn't look legit, but did you guys send it out? So the very first thing that we tell everybody, we teach our employees this in our cybersecurity training that we do with our staff, is to look at who it's from. And I know it's hard to see back here, but yes, it says from Golden Belt Telephone. But I don't know how many of you know this, but typically when you hover over the who it's from on an email, it'll actually show you the email address that it's sent from. So when we open this up, we can look at it's from, and I apologize, this is probably some real person, but it's from a K Marzon at wem.k12.mn.us. Does that sound like a legit GBT email to you guys? It doesn't, but a lot of people still click on this stuff. A lot of people still think it's from us. So then the next thing, so we always tell people first look at who the email is from. It should match the domain name. And when I say domain name, it should match the company's official website, typically, of the email address. Or the one that you officially know is the official email addresses that they use. Okay? Next, how the subject line is addressed. We're always looking for urgency, notice. You need to change something quickly. They want immediate action. So you can see this one says, GBT notice for, and it had the person's email address that it was sent to. So they've sent it to their email address, they referenced the email address, they didn't reference them by name, but they referenced their email address because obviously they have their email. Okay? The next one is how the email's composed. Scammers, they always want you to do something, and typically they want you to click on a link, call a phone number, or click here to go into your account, go into your business account, click those links. I can tell you typically these links have either malware attached to them, they redirect you to a website that looks maybe on the surface like a GBT email, and it's going to start asking you, what's your name? Laura. It's going to ask you, Laura, give me your first name, give me your last name, give me your phone number, give me your email address. We need to verify your account so that we can get you access. It's going to start collecting data, asking you for data. Okay? Then typically there's always, again, a link, an update button. And there's always stuff like, please keep in mind, this is urgent. If you don't do anything, your account will be suspended, yada, yada, yada. We've all seen them. I guarantee you've all gotten them. We see these every day. I bet there's not a week that goes by at GBT where we don't have a customer calling in asking us about some email if it's legit or not. So, how do you know if an email is legit? I know you, what was your name, sorry? Jeanette, she asked, so do I call that number back? How do I know my account's been suspended, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? The best thing that you can do, if you get a phone call, if you get a text message, if you get an email about your account being suspended or something needing action, is you go to the phone book, you go to the internet, and you look, you gotta be careful when you go to the internet. You go to the official website, you look up the number on bills that you know are legit bills from Medicare, from Social Security, from Rush County Hospital, from whoever. You look up official statements that you know that information is accurate and that you call them with those phone numbers. I don't even like to tell people to dial back unless you verify and look that phone number up first. On an account, if your account's been suspended, how many of you got Amazon notices that your Amazon package isn't being delivered by United States Post Office or UPS? They happen all the time, right? And once you click that link, they're going to start getting your information. They're going to tell you that you didn't pay enough postage and you owe $16 more. And you click that stuff. So what should you do? Well, I actually order Amazon packages, Kyle. I need to know if that's legit. All right, you have an Amazon account. Go online, log into your legit Amazon account, and see if there's notices. Typically, if that's legit, there will be notices about your packages being held up. If your bank calls you, log into your online banking or call your banker and see if this is actually true. Because I would say probably 9 out of 10 times they're going to say, no, that's a scammer trying to get your information. So go find your official documents to call the numbers back. Does Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Does that kind of answer your question? Okay. All right. So I'm going to end with a couple of last deals, and then I'll turn this over to Karen. Some of the ways, I want to give you guys a couple of tips if you're not already doing this, to make sure that you do this. Try to set up multi-factor authentication as much as possible. If you're not aware of what multi-factor authentication is it means when you try to log into an account of whatever, that they're going to verify you another way. The easiest way is probably through text messages. Yes, you got to be careful, make sure that you were actually trying to log into that account. But it's just another way in case a hacker would get your passwords or your information. Even if they have that and they try to access your bank account, you're going to get a text message that says, are you trying to get your bank account? If so, here's the code. Obviously, if you're not trying to, don't text somebody the code. Call your bank and say, hey, somebody tried to access my bank account illegally. Somebody tried to access my Amazon account, etc. I'm going to give you a real quick example of what multi-factor authentication is if you don't have this. So we have it on our machines. So I'm going to lock my computer, okay? So I could give you my password right now. I'm not going to because my IT would kill me. But if, let's say she has my password, she types it in here, okay? I left my computer. She tries to log in. Maybe. It always works this way when you're trying to.
While you're waiting, I
Yes.
have a question.
Absolutely.
I do the code and then I will say, don't challenge me on this device again. Should I do that or should I just keep getting the code?
So best practices, there we go. So best practices, I'm gonna type this in because I only have 60 seconds to put this code in. But as I'm typing this code in, then I look up that was sent to me. So there we go. But if you have my password, you'll be able to get in. Best practices, we would say no. Do not remember your passwords because then if you have Duo, sometimes it, or multi-factor, it bypasses it. You know too, it's probably just you at the house. Nobody else is gonna get in, but you know what, if your house gets broken in or the wrong person comes, then they're gonna have access to that stuff. So best practice from our IT, I know it's a hassle to remember passwords and those types of things, but best practices from our IT standpoint is to not have passwords remembered or devices remembered.
What I say is, don't challenge me on this device again.
Right,
So I
right.
shouldn't do that.
We're gonna tell you no.
Okay.
I know why people do it. It's just, you're lessening the strength of security that you have on those devices. So, okay? So if you're not doing multi-factor authentication, I don't know if Karen's gonna hit on this a little bit, but most banking institutions, most things that we use now with the internet have the ability to set up multi-factor authentication. Please do that. Yes?
What if like your device is like face recognition or fingerprint recognition?
What do you mean by that?
So like for instance, I have a MacBook and every password is through my fingerprint. Is that,
So biometric is kind of what we would call that as biometric screening. That's not a bad way to have it because obviously you have to be there to unlock that stuff. As long as we would say, as long as you still have to like type in a password to be able to like to
I
get
literally
this.
just, whenever I do a lot of, that's my finger, there it goes.
Yeah. So if you can set up the two-factor, and I think there's still a way to do two-factor with that, we would still recommend two-factor because it's, the likelihood of that getting, taken is not very high. But again, two-factor is always gonna be the best form of security that you can have for the most part, so. All right. Okay, so the last slide that I want to talk about here is a little bit about AI. How many of you have heard about AI, artificial intelligence, okay? Everybody has mixed emotions. It scares the heck out of me. but it's here. And I can tell you, when we talk to experts and different businesses and different industries, I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it's only gonna become more prevalent. I'm sure we're all AI experts sitting out here in the crowd. I know I am. How many of you have used AI? Okay, a few? Cool. All right, so first everybody has to raise their right hand with what I'm about ready to tell you and not repeat any of it. No, I'm just joking. So the scary thing about AI is there's some really great, cool tools with it, but as Sheriff Noel said, there's some really scary things with AI. And the thing about AI that I want everybody to realize is that it's gonna make it a lot easier for scammers and hackers to target all of us with phone calls, with text messages, and with voice recognition things. I know it's hard to see, but how many of you think that guy looks like me? Kind of, okay? Well, I can tell you, it shouldn't look like me because literally I went to ChatGPT. I'm not endorsing, I'm just telling you how I did this. I went to ChatGPT on my computer and I said, make me walking down Main Street of La Crosse and make me an image. And in literally 15 seconds, guys, that's what it came up with. So, I don't know, it's pretty prevalent. Usually the camera takes off 20 pounds, I think it put on 20. But, I mean, from a distance, or if I stand that somebody random and they haven't seen me for a while, they would probably say, yeah, that looks like me. And, is that a La Crosse building? No. But man, it has La Crosse, Kansas Main Street and the sign back there behind that. So there's some really cool things that you can do with it, but that took me 15 seconds to do that, and I'm not even very good at AI. So you can only imagine what people that have a lot more time than I do with their hands, what they can do with AI. Now on the flip side, what have I done good with it? That email that I showed you just a couple of slides ago that was a complete spam. I copied that thing, I put it in ChatGPT, and I said, is this a legit email? And in half a second, it spit out, absolutely not. Here's the 6 reasons why. It looks like it was meant to come from Golden Belt Telephone. Do you want us to follow up with GBT and ask them for sure if it's a legit email or not? So, I know we're all here. I'm from Otis. I'm a small town kid. It's great growing up where we did. We're all trustworthy. But unfortunately, with the internet and technology, we literally can be scammed by anybody in the world. So it's legitimately that easy.
Kyle, I have a Chromebook and I have a lot of my business documents and everything on there. And the scammer was to get a hold and get into my Chromebook. Could they possibly pull my signature off of it and then use that for documentation elsewhere?
Yeah, if somebody gets in your computer, they can pull typically anything off of there that's on your computer.
So they can just legitimately copy and paste my signature and put it on any document that they would want to.
Absolutely. We're talking more about residential stuff, but from a business aspect, that's the scary thing about businesses and what can literally bankrupt and close down a business like that tomorrow is all it takes is for one employee to give access to the wrong things, and I'm using you as like a one employee type of computer. If they get access to your machine, they literally can pull all those documents off. They can lock up your computer and tell you, if you have your billing statements and stuff on there, they can lock that thing up and tell you you have to pay a ransomware. And how do they do that? Typically by clicking links, clicking on emails, that type of stuff is typically how they're doing it. Usually by just browsing the internet and stuff like that. You're not going to give them access. It's also why we recommend having virus protection and stuff on your machines, malware protection, that type of stuff. But yeah, once somebody's in your computer, if they know what they're doing, they can pretty much get you. Sorry to scare you.
No, it's okay. I just didn't know if that was a real thing or not. So.
Yeah, doesn't matter if it's a Chromebook, doesn't matter if it's an iPhone, doesn't matter if it's a PC like this one that you're looking at here. So
they can even scan it off your phone.
if they would be able to get your phones are a little bit harder to get into, but absolutely. So, okay. Let's see. So yeah, that is my quick presentation. Like I say, more than happy to answer more questions afterwards. Yes, what do you have?
Another question, I have caller ID and this, answering machine. Can they, on my caller ID, I usually check it, but I don't recognize the phone number. Can they falsify that? Can they get into and change that?
No, not that, but they can, but they would be able to use your number if they like, they're not necessarily targeting you, but they could just randomly grab your, don't tell me your full number, but what's your first 6 numbers of your phone? What's your phone number? Yeah, good answer. Good answer. So let's say it's a 785-222 number and then the last 4. Again, they might just randomly grab your number and use that to make fake call outs. They're not in your phone, they're not in your house phone, they're just making calls that appear like it's coming from your phone number. Does that answer your question? Okay. If you have, some people have a physical answering machine. Some people have what I would call like a cloud voicemail. The cloud voicemail typically has a PIN or a password on it. They could get into your voicemail if you had a cloud, if you didn't have a security PIN set up. So that would be the only other thing. And I don't want to get, if you have more questions about those details, but they're probably not getting your answering machine. But yes, they can fake make it like your phone has a call. Yep. Okay? You passed the test. Any other questions? Like I say, I can answer more questions after, and if you don't want to ask in the group, more than happy to answer after Karen's out here. Yeah.
One day where I got 7 spam calls. Every one of them came from a different city.
Yeah. So this gentleman said one day he got 7 spam calls, all from a different city. The only thing you really do is she's going to talk about it. You can go registered on the National Do Not Call Registry database. I can tell you that's like a 25% accuracy. Because again, most of the time this is computers that are just making these calls. They're just spitting them off from different places. So you can call us. We're going to tell you, hey, sorry. What I'm going to recommend, and hopefully the rest of our staff's going to recommend, is just don't answer them. Just do not answer them. Did you have a question? Did you have a question?
It was basically that, I mean, he gets like clockwork every single day, the same person calling, and it's a person, right? As soon as he engages with them and tries to get anywhere with them, and they'll just hang up on him, and it's every single day.
Is it the same number? Different number. Yeah. So that's what I mean, like you can report it as a spam and block that number, but they're just gonna change, the numbers, and again, the best thing that we can tell you is just don't even engage at all, just let it ring. So just do not answer the call. Again, we're humans, I know that's hard to just let that thing ring, not answer a text, not answer an email, because they need something, but the best thing is to just not engage with them. So, yeah.
This goes back to the very beginning, that screen that you said that they're like tech support now. I don't ever get those, or haven't yet, but, what do you recommend to do if, cause you said not to engage, what do you do when it pops up, what do you do?
Yep. So she said, well, if you get that blue screen or Microsoft needs updated or whatever, what do you do? The best thing, and we tell people not even to click exit on it, is to just power your computer off. Just shut it off, and then typically, once you reboot your computer, power it back on, typically it's gone. If it's not gone, then you might have unknowingly, like maybe click the website where they maybe attach some malware. If it doesn't go away, don't engage with the number, don't click on the link. That's where, we have IT services, there's other companies where there's IT support guys, they'll take your machine, they'll run program software on it to see, if there's a malware or something on there, they'll clean it up and then it'll go away. Typically, we just recommend just rebooting. When we say reboot, power cycle your computer, turn it off, turn it back to work. Great question.
25 spam calls a day.
Yep, it is. So, Golden Belt, GBT, there was some FCC mandates, Federal Communication Commission, that mandated that calls get tagged, whether they're legit or not. GBT has spent a lot of thousands of dollars to implement those things, but unfortunately, there's still bad actors that have circumnavigated those systems and figured out ways to get around that, or there's still companies that aren't in compliance. So we're aware of it, the FCC is aware of it, but unfortunately, it's sad to say, but a lot of times scammers are always one step more ahead of regulations. So, and I can tell you, you can change your phone number, but it's not going to be very long before you're getting those calls. Very little, very little. So there has been some companies that are collecting numbers and those types of things. They have been fined millions of dollars from the FCC for calling out, you know, using computers to dial millions of numbers. Somebody just had a multi-million-dollar lawsuit that they got hit with. All for that. But unfortunately, most of them don't get caught.
You think companies that get given ransomware, how do they get access to the land?
How do they what?
How does the ransomware get access to the big corporation?
You and me. Humans, almost always, it's a human being that works within that organization that clicked on the wrong thing. Again, in our organization, we do cybersecurity training, but it's still scary, you know, like we can train. That email deal that I showed you, we go over that with all our employees. There's actually a button where we can send emails that we think are fake emails and stuff like that. But unfortunately, you know, even if you have one employee, all it takes is for them to make one bad decision, click on one link, and it's literally that easy. Now, there's things that these companies put in place to maybe try to stop, you know, put up tunnels or barriers. You know, if they do get in, it stops here and doesn't traverse their whole network. But I can tell you, companies spend millions of dollars to try to prevent those ransomwares from happening. And sometimes, you know, no matter everything that you do, that's why we always say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And what measures do you have in place to try to get your data back without having to pay that ransomware? But it has put many businesses out of business. And I have seen locally businesses that either have or almost lost upwards of $250,000 just right around here.
I got a question. Like on Consumer Reports, it tells you what the best apps are to use to get rid of spam callers, like how they're supposed to work. So like on there it says there's Truecaller, and it's supposed to like kill out all the spam calls, which they do, but sometimes they kill all different other calls too. So, but then after a while, you know, they're still continuing to work on it. You have to work through that program where it'll work through your messages and your calls. How well are those being used as well?
You know, that I'm not real familiar with. I would probably compare that to like computer software and antivirus stuff. That those things are probably only as good as the company, because usually those are paid for versions, and so they're only as good as like the latest patches and firmwares that they release. And you are right. I can tell you for our employees and the measures we put in, it does make our jobs harder. It takes more time. Kind of like phone calls. Sometimes it blocks calls that, you know.
This even goes through your text messages.
Yeah.
And gets rid of like those verification codes and everything that people are sending you, and like DOTs and KDOTs and certain ones.
Yeah. So I know they're out there. I don't have any specifically that I would recommend to anybody. Usually those are, you know, paid for versions and
It's a free version.
some free versions. So someone's just doing research and seeing how well they're doing. Yeah.
Maybe this isn't part of this, but how do you know whether an app, you know, you go to like the app stores and stuff, how do you know whether they're good or not?
Yeah, so she just asked, how do you know if an app's good or not? How many of you know what QR codes are? Right? Okay. Unfortunately, that's another way that, the reason I pick on QR codes is not to pick on Sheriff here, but, you know, scan the QR code. Hackers use QR codes now. A lot of times it directs you to bad apps and stuff like that. So So what we would say is go to his official website, or go to his official Facebook, or call sheriff, or I don't think that Sheriff Knowles probably handed these out to you personally with a bad QR code, but that's really the only way you know that they're legit is by like.
But you can be
talking to
mad
the
at
person. I would say be very careful if you're just at a random place and they want you to download an app. You really need to be careful because back to like, can your phone get hacked? You know, you just put an app on there that may be able to all your traffic. Yeah, so the other way too is a lot of times on the app stores, please don't trust this 100%, but you can also see like how many downloads it has, what it's rated at, read the information. I will say though with AI, people are smart. They can write AI codes now and they can get an app to, you know, they can get it to give it 5,000 likes and a bunch of reviews with AI now, so you gotta be careful. But that's what I would say is try to make sure, you know, it's from the person that you're known, and just be very careful, research it to make sure that it is the official app. So. Okay, I think we'll let Karen go, so she can get started, and then, like I say, more than happy afterwards to answer more questions for anybody.
Thank you, Kyle.
Great engagement, thanks everybody.
We got another $25 gift card.
Okay, so why is it so important that we're having this training? I can tell you that in Rush County Sheriff's Office, we get calls about scams all the time. I would be very conservative if I were to tell you that Rush County citizens have lost over $500,000 in the last year and a half. That's just what we know of. I also know that we've had at least one person, and I'm going to share this just because the family said it was okay. We had one person that fell for a romance scam thinking they were in a relationship and fell for stuff, and they ended up taking their own life. This stuff becomes very real to you. And especially they're very good at manipulating, they're very good at tricking you. And they have several different ways of doing it. I'll give you one example. So back when the furniture factory was open here, they received a letter talking about take this check and go ahead and deposit it because we owe you money, but then you got to pay us. It was a lot of people were falling for it though. So I ended up doing a little bit of research, investigating on it. I ended up finding out it had a phone number attached to a letter. And I ended up finding out that FedEx had been sent out by FedEx through Walgreens and Hayes. So I went to Walgreens and Hayes, and I ended up finding the video of the person that mailed out all of these letters for the scammers. That person thought that they were just making an extra side income. To them, it was a work from home. Okay, we ended up. I think there were 72 letters sent out on that day. 72 potential victims sent out that day, that one day alone, with that phone number that if they called them, then they were going to get scammed. Okay? I ended up finding out that the suspects were in Africa. I was able to figure that out. I ended up having a lot of fun with those scammers. What I ended up doing was, and I don't suggest this, but what I ended up doing was I ended up making them think, they never even knew they were talking to law enforcement. I made them think that they were being scammed. I made it seem like I had attached them to like a three-way conversation, and I just started firing just text messages after text messages. You want a free iPad? Hey, that one looks good. You want me to click on it? Oh, there you go. Now, just within 24 hours, that phone number was disconnected and it's never been turned back on. Now that being said, I didn't catch them. But what did happen is at least 72 people can't call that number now to become victims. Okay? And that's just one day. That's just one day. So this stuff is over and over and over. Have any of you ever got a phone call that whenever you answer it, they hang up right away? Okay, so what that is when he's talking about computers calling you and everything, they're calling a large number of people, and whoever answers first is the lucky ones who gets to talk to them. Everybody else gets hung up on. That's one way. Have any of you ever had a phone call that when, and I get these all the time, that you answer it, and before anybody says anything, it sounds like water drop, like a drop of water, like that, just hang up. That's a scam. Okay, that's not real. If you get that call where you hear that, then just hang up. Okay? This is why this is important to me. I care about you guys. Rush County Sheriff's Office, my team, we care about you. And we're just tired of seeing everybody become victims. So that's why we invited GBT. That's why we invited the bank. That's why we're doing this. And I wish more people showed up, but not everybody's able to. But what do you guys think so far? So far, okay. Now, here's the question. How many people didn't understand half the stuff that Kyle was talking about? I'm sure that they'd be okay with you calling them, or you can call and talk to us as well. That's fine. So, all right. So here's what I want to do. Oh, yes, sir.
So the bottom line is that you give someone, you say, well, you owe this is what we have to bill, you owe this, and we're gonna send out the credit collection, and they say, no, I don't, I'm not gonna pay it. And they say, well, we've got to put out a warrant for your rent, we'll have the local authorities, and it's like, well, fine, do it. And so when the sheriff shows up at my front door, then I know it was.
Then it was real? Okay, so, all right, so I'm going to say this again. Sheriff's office, no law enforcement is ever going to call you asking for you to pay a bill.
No, I mean, it's a scammer telling me.
Oh, yeah, no,
And
trust
then
me.
they're just saying they're gonna be ready. So who's the one?
Yes. Yeah, because if they're saying you owe a bill, then they're supposedly bill collectors, not law enforcement. So, all right, they're not,
Yeah, yeah, again, just don't answer. That'd be the first thing, but if you do answer, then you go back to, if they say that it's the hospital or whatever it is, look the legit number up and call them if you're that worried about, if you think that there's a slight chance that it could be real. If you think it's Medicare and they're gonna stop your payments, or Social Security, they're gonna stop your payments, look the Social Security, office up, drive to the Social Security office in Hayes, whatever it is, and call the legit numbers and see if it's them. If first off, if you did answer the phone call. But the biggest deal is just don't answer the call.
don't answer the call. Seriously, if you don't know the number, don't answer the call. If it's important enough for them to call you, and if it's important enough it's real, they'll leave you a message. Very, very rarely will a scammer leave you a message. And you know why? They're not going to take the time. They're going to call another number. So not to call anybody out here, but has anybody here fallen victim and actually lost money to a scammer? Oh my goodness. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. I'll do that first. Okay, sorry. All right, raise your hand. It happens. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Anybody else? Oh my goodness. Let me get some more. I don't know if I brought enough.
Yeah, that's like Cheryl Rolls. It's really not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So the biggest deal is if you fall for it, don't feel bad. Just share your story with friends, family, so that they don't fall for the same.
So the reason I'm asking this, if anybody's fallen victim here and has lost money, the reason I'm doing this is I wanted you all, everyone that's attending, to see this is happening here. We are a trusting community. That's what I love about this community. We are a good community. All right? Common sense, and we're trusting. But guess what? We're going to fall victim. We're going to fall victim. Were you too? Okay. Anybody else that I missed? Okay. Okay. Well, does anybody need to take a break? We want to keep going? Okay. Do you guys care if we go a little bit later since we got a late start? A lot of good information here. Okay, I had no, I want to get out of here. Okay. All right, so that being said, we're gonna go ahead and give the stage to Karen Rogers. She is the Assistant Vice President for SJN Bank of Kansas, which is you guys have a long name now.
Yeah. So my name's Karen Rogers. I'm Assistant Vice President at Nakoma State Bank. So we are Nakoma State Bank, a branch of SJN Bank of Kansas. So I've been there now 10 years, and if you don't know me, hi. Very helpful. Oh, thank you. So if you have ever been scammed or something like that, and you come to the bank, you will probably most likely talk to me. I have seen many scams, like anything, everything, you name it, I've seen it. So I'm just here to kind of help you guys, I guess, identify and figure out what is a scam and what's not. So the first thing here is we're going to watch a short video.
Hopefully the audio works, so if it doesn't, we'll try something else here, so.
Did you know that an estimated 1 in 5 seniors is a victim of financial exploitation? Every day, scammers are increasingly targeting seniors, leading to billions of dollars in losses annually. Unlike fraudsters, who take your money without permission, scammers trick you into giving them money or access to your personal information. Unfortunately, there are as many types of scams as there are scammers. Some play on your hopes for something positive to happen. They say that you won a prize or a large sum of money, but you need to pay a fee to receive it. Others may make a tempting financial offer, but only after you help them. Scammers try to gain your trust and play on your emotions to get you to care. Scammers might prey on your need for help, claiming they're from a tech company and offering to fix an issue for payment. They may also play on your fears. Fear of being on the wrong side of the law by saying you've committed a crime, missed a payment, or owe the government back taxes. Or the fear that your loved one needs help by impersonating a relative and saying they're in danger and need money immediately. Whether a scammer reaches you by phone, email, social media, or text, they will often pressure you to pay quickly with a method that is difficult, if not impossible, to trace, like gift cards, wire transfers, cryptocurrency, or cash. They will also insist on secrecy. The best way to protect yourself and your loved ones is to recognize how scammers use our emotions against us. If you suspect you are being scammed, end all communication immediately. Remember, it's not rude to hang up on someone trying to hurt you. No matter what story the scammer tells you, resist the pressure to act quickly. If you're worried that you or a loved one is in danger, call the police or someone you trust before proceeding. Lastly, never give or send any account numbers, passwords, money, gift cards, checks, or wire information to people or businesses you don't know. The ultimate goal of any scam is to steal your assets or identity. If you or someone you know has been targeted, tell your bank and report it to the FTC.
So that was geared more towards senior citizens, but really that applies to almost everyone. Anybody can be scammed at any age. So, can anybody tell me what this number might represent? Guesses?
How many dollars a year?
How many dollars a year? Oh.
A week?
A week? This is, according to 2024 Global Financial Crime Report released by NASDAQ Verifin, this is the amount of loss from fraud scams and bank fraud schemes reported in 2023. Unfortunately, this is not all the fraud scams and schemes, and many go unreported, and we don't really actually know how much was lost in 2023. Okay, so what is a scam? A scam is a trick a con artist plays on an unsuspecting victim. The goal in every case is to extort money, maybe a little or a lot, but there is always a financial motive. Scams can fail. We're going to talk about how you can make that happen, but when a scam works, the victim's money is gone, with nothing to show for it, and the scammer's gone too. So, types of romance scams, or types of scams. As shown in this video that we just watched, there are many types of scams. Although I'm not going to go and explain all of these in detail, we are going to discuss a few of them at the end of the session. If there's more time, we can discuss them some more. Any guess about this number?
That must be the romance scams.
That is a romance scam. So, in 2023, romance scams caused an estimated $3.8 billion, with a B, billion, in losses. Although romance scams represent less than 9% of customer scams, the amount of the loss is enormous. So I want to read a romance scam, a story about a romance scam that cost a widow $1 million. So, at 51, Debbie Montgomery Johnson led a full life. She and her husband Lou had been happily married for 26 years. They were both Air Force veterans. She now worked at a bank, while he ran his own business. With one teenager at home, one in college, and two older boys serving in the military, Debbie and Lou were just starting to envision what their life might look like as empty nesters. Then Lou suddenly died. Debbie became a widow overnight. I was so mad at Lou at the world, said Debbie. None of it was part of our plan. But Debbie didn't want the world to see her pain. Every morning, she woke up and forced a smile on her face, staying busy and taking over Lou's business. She only allowed herself to cry at night when she was back home alone. Her friends were worried for her and encouraged her to try online dating. In time, she created an online dating account, hoping she could find someone to talk to, a companion to fill the void of loneliness. Soon, someone caught her eye. Eric was a British businessman with a son of his own and a kind smile. He was widowed, like her. And as they began chatting, she quickly discovered that he was charming and could keep the conversation going. They started talking over instant messenger all the time. Every time I heard a chirp from my messaging app, I'd run over to my computer so we could keep talking, said Debbie. It was like I was 16 again. And then, as they shared more about each other, their families, their lives, Debbie grew to trust Eric. And with that came a sense of security. When she noticed small inconsistencies in Eric's stories, they were easy to rationalize, especially as the pair grew closer. Just a few weeks after they started talking, Eric asked Debbie for some money for the first time. It was such a small amount, just $50, that Debbie didn't hesitate. It was only later that she realized it was a test, one that she unfortunately passed. With the promises of repayment, she was happy to help float him cash he needed to get by. The requests for money slowly became more frequent, the dollar amounts creeping up over time. Debbie became a fixture at Western Union and her nearby banks, regularly sending thousands of dollars to places like Malaysia, England, and India. $2,500 a year, $10,000 there. And when she depleted her immediate savings, she tapped into her retirement accounts, sold jewelry, and even borrowed money from her parents as the months ticked by. She kept meticulous records of all the money she sent to or on behalf of Eric, but she had no idea how much it was adding up to. After 2 years, she had transferred more than $1 million, and none of it had been repaid. At the time, the stories he told me felt so urgent, he made so much sense, Debbie said. It went on for so long, my accountant knew about him, my banker knew about him, and my family knew about him. He had to be real, but it wasn't. In September 2012, Eric came online and asked Debbie, but to her confusion, how she felt about forgiveness. Then he confessed. Their entire relationship had been a scam. Debbie immediately rejected the idea. It couldn't possibly be true. Eric turned on his video camera for the first time, revealing a young Nigerian man who bore no resemblance to the British widower she had received pictures of. It felt like hitting a brick wall, Debbie said, as Eric apologized and tried to play on her sympathies to keep the relationship going. She was overwhelmed by feelings of anger and shame. Her mind began to spin with questions. Could she catch him? Could she somehow get the money back? After closing out the chat, Debbie contacted FBI armed with more than 4,000 pages of journal entries and financial records for the past 2 years. Law enforcement confirmed the fraud, but there is little that could be done. The money was gone, and there is little hope for finding and prosecuting the international predators. Losing the money was obviously devastating, Debbie said, but what's worse is what it does to your heart and your trust. So in Debbie's advice, she says, slow down anytime someone comes to you in an emergency and asks for money. Scammers use urgency to get you to act before you think. And she actually is a real person. Okay, tech support scams. I have one more story I want to read to you. That's the last story, I promise. Involves a tech support scam. This is about Stevie's struggle. The golden years were just starting to come into focus for Steve. As Stafford graduate, he built an accomplished career as an applied scientist, even hosting a podcast that combined his love for agriculture and pop culture. But at 68, he was looking forward to a slower pace, with more time for his passions like gardening, hiking near his home in San Diego, and artwork inspired by botany, biology, and flora that defined his career for so long. Steve wasn't quite ready to call himself fully retired, though. He was still doing some consulting and freelance writing out of his home. So when he received an invoice from the Geek Squad on a Friday in 2022, he didn't think anything of it. He had a service contract for his computer, and he knew it was up for renewal soon, but the amount of the invoice, $399, was higher than expected. It looked like every other Geek Squad email I'd ever gotten, Steve said. He called the customer service number conveniently listed in the email. Very convenient. Steve reached a friendly agent who confirmed the invoice was incorrect and said that he would receive a full refund. So Steve just needed to download a diagnostics app so that he could help him fill out the necessary paperwork. So once again, Steve thought nothing of it. It was common for the Geek Squad to request remote access as part of the troubleshooting problem. There's just one problem. He wasn't talking to the Geek Squad. When Steve downloaded the app, criminals got full access to his computer and everything on it. They used it to access his bank accounts, move his money around, and make it appear that $20,000 had been mistakenly deposited to his account. Now the real scam is in motion. The agent began talking about how much trouble he would get in for the mistaken transfer. He would need Steve's help to fix things by initiating wire transfer to return the money. It was impossible not to feel bad for the guy, Steve said. I wanted to help. Steve set out for his local branch, but when he got there, they wouldn't authorize the transaction. The scammer wouldn't be deterred. With the wire transfer off the table, the agent told Steve that he could withdraw cash from the bank and use it to buy gift cards. While he was feeling sympathetic towards the agent, Steve began getting suspicious. He started asking more questions about who he was talking to, the transaction, and the gift cards. Soon, the scammer's tactics changed. Friendliness gave way to threats that his entire bank account would be shut down if he didn't comply. Worried that he was being blackmailed and could lose all the money in his account, Steve withdrew $12,000 from the bank. When the teller at the bank asked him what the money was for, Steve said it was to pay for home renovations. The lie supplied by the scammer. What followed was a nightmarish weekend with stores limiting how many gift cards can be purchased in a single day. Steve scrambled to drive around San Diego trying to find a new place to buy cards. All the while, the scammer just kept calling, demanding more money as quickly as possible. He began to fear that they would never leave him alone. On Monday morning finally arrived, Steve went back to his bank, told him everything that was happening. This confirmed his worst suspicions and that he was a victim of a fraud scam. Steve contacted law enforcement, but the damage was done. None of Steve's $12,000 was ever recovered, and no one was apprehended for the crime. In Steve's advice, he says, trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, take a breath, talk to somebody else about your situation. takeaways from this article? Trust your gut, speak up, and speak out. The grandparent scam. How many of you guys have heard of a grandparent scam? Hey, that's good, that's great. You guys are already informed on this. So I won't take as much time, but, okay. How many of you have grandchildren? How many of you would do anything to keep your grandchildren safe and out of harm's way? And this is what scammers prey on. They know you will do anything to keep your family safe. But how do these scammers know who your family members are? Do you have a social media account? How much information about your family do you have publicized? In a grandparent scam, scammers will contact you through email or by phone with either a text or a call. As soon as the victim answers, they work their way into your heart. Grandma, is that you? Hey, it's me, it's your granddaughter. And then when you say, oh, Becca, is that you? Snap, they gotcha. Yes, Grandma, it's me, Becca. I'm in a heap of trouble. I was traveling and my car broke down and the mechanic says I need $1,500 before I can leave with my car. Can you help me, please? I wasn't expecting to have this kind of bill. If you get, please send me money through PayPal. I promise I'll set up with you when I get home. No, all fake. So another example, a strange number calls you and says, I have your grandson here. He's in a lot of trouble, and if you don't pay me what he owes me, I'm gonna hurt him. So what do? Do you help your grandchild or not? How do you know this is really him or her? What kind of relationship do you have with your grandchildren? Is it a close or distant relationship? Are you able to recognize your grandkid's voice? Do you have their phone number? Are you able to call them or their parents to find out if your grandchild is in fact safe and sound? The greatest way to prevent from being scammed this way is with a family code word. A family code word is a word that you and your family decide on to be your safe word. This could be something as simple as blue, Jamaica, or applesauce. So how do you utilize a family code word? If someone calls or texts you claiming to be a family member of yours, you can ask them what the family code word is. If that person cannot give you the code word, hang up, stop texting. Don't say anything more. If it really is your family member, they should know the family code word. Next one we're going to talk about today is government imposter scams. Unless these agencies contact you first, government agencies typically initiate communication with you by letter. Unexpected contact or demands through any other method are a scam. A government impersonation scam often starts with a call, email, text, social media message from someone who says they're with a government agency. They might give you their employee ID number to sound official, and they might have information about you, like your name or home address, items that can be found online or through your social media. They will then give you some story about how you owe money and need to pay it today or else you'll face consequences. You get a call or message like this, hang up, ignore it, it's a scammer. Government agencies will never call, text, email, or message you on social media to ask for money or personal information. Government agencies will never text, email, or message you on social media to ask for money or other personal information. Only a scammer does that. These are a couple examples of ones I've seen. The first one from the Kansas Department of Transportation, I actually got that text message over the weekend. So, yeah, a text message from Kansas Department of Transportation saying that your unpaid toll is overdue. Click the link. Don't do it. If you get a call from an FBI agent in Texas stating that your bank account is involved in a drug smuggling scheme, you need to send us more money so we can track the transaction and catch the criminals? No. Call from the IRS stating your tax return from 3 years ago was filed incorrectly and you need to pay a fine with cash or they will arrest your family. No, don't do that. If you ever have any questions about any of these, please hang up, call them, please. And they'll let you know and be like, nope, that's a scam. These are all red flags to look for when spotting scams. Anything that requires you to act now is probably not a good thing. Act now and think later always that more scams, that they are scams more often than not. Secrecy is a big no-no. No legitimate business transaction or monetary exchange should be a secret. If the person is trying to get you to not tell your bank or your family about it, it's most likely a scam. If someone is telling you that the only way to send money is by mailing cash, doing any transaction through a crypto wallet, sending gift cards, think scam. Do not mail cash. Even if they tell you to wrap it in a phone book and ship it to them, don't do it. I have seen that before. Anything involving buying something with crypto should immediately raise concern. I don't know of any local businesses that accept crypto payments as a form of currency. Do you? No. So if they say you need to go take this cash, drive to, I think it was Hutchison, and use the, there is a machine, I think it's either in Hutch or Wichita, you know?
Bitcoin machine, like an ATM.
Yeah, so it's like a machine, you put your money into it, and then you can buy Bitcoin with it. It's like a Bitcoin ATM. So I've actually had people here locally in La Crosse that come into the bank and they're like, hey, I need this money. I'm like, well, what are you doing? And so this person then was told by the scammer to drive to Wichita, put their money in this Bitcoin machine, buy the Bitcoin, and then send it to the scammer. Anything doing with Bitcoin, no, it's a scam. Just don't do it. Okay, and then gift cards. Gift cards are meant to be used as gifts, not a form of a payment to pay off debt, okay? Gift cards are used for gifts, like for your nephew who is graduating from college, get him a gift card. It is not to pay Golden Bells or pay their scammers, you know, something like that, someone claiming to be a scammer. A gift card is meant for gifts. And if anybody wants you to buy a gift card or something and say, oh, you need to give me the back of the card and give me the number and all that, it's a scam. Okay. Another red flag is sending money up front before your work is completed or if the item can be picked up. So let's say, hey, you won a free computer, but you have to pay shipping and handling before we send it to you. And they're like, oh, wait, there's an issue with the payment, you need to send more. So anything that requires money up front and you win it, that's probably a scam. And then the last three go hand in hand, but ultimately, if it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is too good to be true. So, how to protect yourself. If you answer a call from someone that you don't know, hang up. There is no law that says you have to be polite. Or you could just say, I'm sorry, but I don't know you. Thanks for calling anyway. In the case of someone claiming to represent a charity, you might say something like, I'm sorry, but I donate locally, so I won't be able to donate to your charity. It's generally a safe practice to not pick up any calls from people you don't recognize. Do not open attachments or links. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Do not open attachments or links from emails that you do not recognize or are not expecting. Even if it looks appealing from a legitimate business, click delete. Attachments and or links could contain viruses that infect your computer and scammers can hijack it. We don't see this very often anymore, but let's talk about knocks on your front door. If you have a salesperson or someone you don't recognize at your front door, what do? You have two options. A, don't answer the door, or B, answer the door. If you don't answer the door, they will eventually go away. But if you answer the door, be willing to say no and never allow a stranger into your house. Even with a business card, identification, and or decals on a vehicle. If you are not expecting a company to visit you, then you should not be receiving a visit from them. Throw out mail that you're not expecting from sources you don't recognize. Be sure to shred anything that has identifying information that a thief could use to apply for a credit card or a loan in your name. Now, as I said before, be willing to say no and say it firmly. Don't beat around the bush. Let's all practice. On 3, I want to hear everyone's best no. 1, 2, 3. No! Very good. friend or us at the bank. It is important that people are aware of these scams, even more important to know how to handle the situation while you're going through it. How to protect yourself. Block the scam calls. With most cell phones today, it's possible to block the scam caller or all unknown callers. You can register your phone number on the National Do Not Call Registry, listed right there. If you have a computer, it is wise to install and update antivirus software. If you do not understand the antivirus software, please ask for professional help in choosing the best option for you. I know our friends at GBT can help, or you can call a trusted friend or family member who is familiar with antivirus software. It might cost an annual fee, but it will be well worth it. Protect yourself by keeping your valuable information to yourself. Don't share it with others. Valuable information can be any of the following. So it could be as much as your mother's maiden name, your first pet's name, and the street you grew up on. Now, why would these be considered valuable information? Let's go back to that question in a minute. Scammers looking for victims can use personal information that you provide on social media. So be guarded with what you put on social media. Have you ever seen posts that ask something like, everyone has a Christmas elf name, what is yours? And then the post says, your elf name is the name of your first pet and the street you grew up on. And you think to yourself, oh, this is fun. Let me share my elf name. So let me think, my first pet's name was Bella, and the street I grew up on was Main Street. So my elf name would be Bella Main. Do you click and share? What happens with that information? Who sees it? Do you realize what information you shared with the whole world? Let's say you have a login for a medical patient portal. You have the login information with a username and a password. What happens if you don't know your password? Well, if you answered the basic security questions when you first set up your login credentials, then you can reset the password. All you need to know is your mother's maiden name, the street you grew up on. What happens is a scammer hacks into your email and finds your username but doesn't know the password. Can they go on your Facebook and find out your mother's maiden name or the street you grew up on? If so, they can reset your password and log into that patient portal. What information is in the patient portal that would be beneficial to a scammer? Patient portals might have payment information, social security numbers, medical records. So something as harmless as sharing your Christmas elf name can sometimes be harmful when put into the wrong hands. And just because someone is your friend on social media doesn't mean that that is their true identity. Anybody can create a fake profile, pretend to be your friend, and there initiate the scam. And also talking about social media, as far as the bank's concerned, we see a lot of fraud on your debit cards due to Facebook ads. You see an ad on Facebook and you're like, oh, that looks cool, let me buy that. You buy an item for $6.99 on Facebook ad for, I don't know, some shoes, I don't know, something. And then you buy it, it's shipped to you, and you unknowingly sign up for a recurring debit, recurring charge. And then after that, it's $79.99 a month. Do not buy stuff off of Facebook ads, please. Ads is, whenever we have debit card issues, we're like, hey, did you purchase anything off of Facebook recently? Was it from a Facebook ad? Don't do it. Anybody done something like that recently?
I got it taken care of.
Buy stuff on Facebook ads, please be very careful. So, what you gotta do? Put up your dues. Be suspicious of any situation that requires you to send money up front. The best defense against being victimized is to recognize that scams can and do happen. Be aware that you could be next. Assume that if secrecy is essential, it's because there's something to hide. Confirm everything you're told with an independent source. Look up phone numbers, check credentials, contact family or a financial caregiver. Make sure you choose the privacy settings on your social media account. Use caller ID on your phone to screen out people you don't know. Don't answer the door to strangers when you're home alone. And review your credit and bank accounts. Review your bank and credit card statements every month. and report any transactions you don't recognize or don't authorize to your bank immediately. So, what do you do if you are a victim of a scam? Many scam victims, especially those who have lost substantial amounts of money, are embarrassed that they have allowed themselves to be taken advantage of. They feel stupid. They may also feel afraid that they'll lose their independence because others will conclude that they're not able to manage their affairs. Some may be afraid that the scammer will harm them or their families if they speak out. Only a limited number of scammers actually threaten their victims, but those who do are usually trying to protect their identities or terrify the victims into complying. It is important to speak up. So at SJN Bank, we do offer checking accounts that have an additional service called ID Protect. ID Protect is our identity theft monitoring resolution service that can help protect your identity. This does not protect you from being scammed, but it can protect you if you do become a victim of identity fraud. If you are interested in opening accounts or converting your current account to one of these, let me know afterwards. There's also some information in the black books. And I'm also sorry if you didn't get a black book. I didn't bring them today, I'm so sorry. If you want to come by the bank, we have those too. The resources I use today, I use the ABA, it's American Bankers Association Foundation, Safe Banking for Seniors, NASDAQ Verifin, 2024 Global Financial Crime Report. A lot of information from here I got from the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, and if you do ever get scammed, go to the FTC and then report it. Please report it. I'll leave these resources up for a little bit, some helpful websites to help reduce your chance of becoming a victim. I guess. You guys have any questions at this point? Yes?
Is it a policy at your bank, if someone came in and wanted $10,000, you question, or is it not your policy?
If someone comes into the bank and takes a lot of money, a lot of cash, we do question it. Because most people don't walk into the bank and be like, hey, I want $10,000 cash, you know? Usually, sometimes it's for some reason like, oh, hey, I'm buying a car. But if you're doing something legitimate, I wouldn't worry about it and be like, hey, I'm buying a car. They want cash for it. But if someone comes in and they're like, hey, I want $10,000 cash, and I'm like, this isn't usually what you do, I will ask questions. I personally, it was one of my first years at the bank, so this was years ago. First years at the bank, someone I knew pretty well came in and asked for almost their entire savings account to take all of it out in cash. And this was a lot of money. And I'm like, you want that much money in cash? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, what are you doing this for? And it's like, for personal reasons. I'm like, what do you mean personal? And she's like, that's what they told me to say. And I said, what? And so the scammer was on the phone and they said, they coached them to what to say for the bank, being like, that's what the scammer told me to say for personal reasons. I mean, yes, you can come and get money out of the bank. It's your money, you can do what you want with it, but we are gonna ask questions to protect you from getting scammed. Because there have been a lot of times where when we start asking more questions, that we do catch people and be like, that sounds like a scam. So, I mean, yes, your bank is, if they do ask you, if you are taking out a lot of cash, they are gonna ask you, and it's really for your safety. It's not because we want to be like, what are you doing with your cash? No, it's we want to protect you and making sure that you are not getting scammed. Yes?
I wanted 5,000 in cash, and the banker said, why do you need that? I said, my wife wants to go shopping.
I mean, that's fine, yeah. If you're coming in for a legitimate reason and being like, hey, I need some cash, that's fine. But I mean, if you're not doing anything illegal with it or being scammed, like you wouldn't be up here being like sweating $10,000 in cash, I need to have it right now so I can go to Wichita and put this money in this Bitcoin machine. No. So, I mean, that's why banks do sometimes ask questions, because we have been trained extensively in scams, because scams are greatly, I mean, the part of scams is that they want to get your money. Where do you get your money? The bank. So we are trained extensively on that, and we are told to ask questions to make sure that you are not being scammed. Got a question over here?
Yeah, it's similar to a scam, but a scam, like a bank card.
Oh, a
which has
scammer?
actually happened to us, where my bank card got scammed using it on a fuel pump.
Yeah.
And then 11:50 at night, they got $300, which luckily I had a minimum out of an ATM of $300. But then at 12:05, they also got another 300 because it was a separate day. But then luckily the bank computers like, no, this ain't right, and they froze my accounts.
Yeah.
Is that a big problem with the banks too now?
I mean, so on, for us at Tacoma State Bank, we do have debit card limits to prevent you from, like, if you would lose your card, we have certain limits, to where in a 24-hour period, it won't let you take out more than $1,000. Because how many times do we spend $1,000 in one day? Not very often, maybe Black Friday, but not very often other than that. So, I mean, but there are many times, like if you're gonna buy a computer or a laptop, $1,500, that's fine. Just call, let us know, you're making a larger purchase, something like that. But we do have debit card limits for that reason, so if you do lose your card, the scammers only have access to a limited amount of money, and then we assume that when you lose your card, you will contact us immediately and we'll get that shut down. So, we do have debit card limits that do help that. I know, most banks do have like a fraud detection system. On ours, it is called Falcon Fraud. Sometimes they will, I mean, we tell our customers this, they will try to get a hold of you and verify if a transaction is legitimate. So they'll just be like, hey, did you make a $50 purchase at Casey's? Reply back yes or no. If you reply back, yes, I did that, your card's good to go. If there was a transaction to where you're trying to buy a gift card or something online, and it recognizes, hey, this website has been used for fraud and scams a lot, it'll like throw up a flag and be like, hey, did you do this transaction? We'll try to text you or call you, something like that. And if you're ever questioning whether a text message or a phone call is legitimate, call us, please call us. And then, then we can verify if that transaction was legitimate, and then we can either push that transaction through or we'll block it. And if it is fraud, then we'll get you a new card.
I have had what turned out to be a legitimate call from the bank that there was potential fraud. I still didn't talk to them, I called the card number back.
That is fine, yes.
Big chicken here.
Yeah, no, that is great. Like, if I call someone and like, hey, there's an issue with your card going on and the person doesn't recognize me, I said, hey, if you want to hang up, call us back and ask for Karen. Like, that's fine. We are completely fine with that. We want you guys to be questioning transactions. We want you to be questioning, is this email legitimate? Is this phone call legitimate? We want you to call and ask us. We would rather take 50 phone calls in a day that is like, hey, is this you? Than to have you fall for a scam. Because if you fall for a scam, then you're out of that money, and most times there's nothing law enforcement can do to get it back. I mean, if you do come into us with something and you're in the middle of a scam, we do tell you, hey, this is a scam, and then we usually call the sheriff and we're like, hey, do this. Or if someone does get in your computer or something like that, we will tell you, unplug your internet, take it, don't do anything else on your computer until you take it to Golden Belts and have it checked out. So, yes.
I'd just like to compliment you. I've been hacked, but thanks to Karen's knowledge and asking me the right questions, I've never lost a dollar. And I'm just
we're trying to figure out if you're being scammed or not. And I mean, we've helped prevent people from being scammed and losing money. And so we don't want you guys to lose money. So we want to protect your money and your assets.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Karen. We need to talk in a minute, guys. I have some concerns.
And this one was the big one, that's $100 gift card. So congratulations.
Okay, so what we learned tonight, we learned that AI can be scary. Yes, it can. We also learned that if I wanted to know what it looked like for me to go take a vacation, finally go to Paris, I could. Okay? I learned that there's a lot of grandparents here, but I learned there's not as many grandparents that would do anything for their grandkid. No judgment. No judgment, no judgment. Okay. We did learn that code words are good. So a family code word that no one else is going to know, that's smart. So every single thing that they've talked about tonight, ladies and gentlemen, every single type of scam, I've worked here. Okay? Romance scams. I know of people in our county that have lost tens of thousands. Actually, I know one that's probably up to around $70,000 lost in just the last couple of years. And that person knows they're in a romance scam. They know it, but they're still doing it. The knocking on the door, we had that happen last week out in the county. Somebody came and knocked on the door and said they were with an insurance company. They weren't really with an insurance company. They were scouting out the house. Okay? The email stuff, the text messages. By the way, KDOT doesn't care if you have a traffic infraction. Okay? They care about if the highway's good. Okay, but they don't care about traffic infractions. That's not gonna be them. So if you guys ever have any questions about anything, if you think it's a scam, even if it looks legitimate and you just don't know, just call us. Just call us, we'll tell you. Okay? I'll tell you, no movie stars care about anybody in Rush County, I'm sorry. Michael Jackson is not still alive. He is in another country needing your $500 so he can come back here and make more music. That's not happening. All right? We actually have residents in our county that have movie stars asking them for $300, $400 because they're having problems with their other movie star spouse. Okay? All right. They know it. They know that that's probably not true, but they're just in the hopes. Maybe that person really is interested in having a conversation with me. Okay? It does happen here. It happens here, guys. So I want to thank you all for coming. We had over 60 people show up. And that's awesome. I hope that you had some good information. If you have any questions, just let us know. If you have any questions about getting the Sheriff's app uploaded, in that there's going to be one it's called the Scam Cybersecurity. That actually connects you to the FBI stuff, to a bunch of other stuff. And then I'm sure we can probably also get the PowerPoint presentations for anybody. Would that be fine, guys? Okay, we can probably get the PowerPoint presentation for anybody that was sitting way back in the back. And we can probably get that so you can take a look at it. Also, this is going to be posted on YouTube. I'll share it on Facebook here probably within the next week. If there's any ads that pop up on Facebook, don't click on them. Don't lose your money. All right. I will tell you this though, guys. So when we first talked about this scammer presentation, and when I posted it on Facebook, the very first one, within an hour, I had at least 9 or 10 scammers comment on that post, trying to get people to click on the links. So we do not delete comments unless we know they're not real people, or we know that, like, if they're having links, we do not allow anybody to have any links on our Facebook page. But normal comments we leave on there because of the Kansas Open Record Act. So if you guys have any questions afterwards, I hope everybody got full. I want to thank GBT.
Yeah, big thanks to Bo Riegel, our manager, Aaron Drummond, our plant manager, and Kelly Baldwin. They're the ones that cooked and served, so
Yes.
shout out to those guys.
Yes, and I want to thank Karen and her team. And if you have any questions for any of us, just let us know afterwards, okay? I want to thank you all for coming. I hope that this was a good presentation. I hope you all got something out of it. And I'm looking forward to doing more stuff for our community in the future. Okay, thanks, guys.